Hi. So Calicut only has these many singles. Everybody else's Valentine's is sorted. All right. Oh, we started with consent. So I was just asked to sign a consent form, which says that I accept everything that I say here on the mic, on this stage, is going to be recorded. And hashtag consent. Hi everyone, thank you for taking out 60 minutes of your life. My countdown has just begun, I'm glad. And joining us here for the 7th edition of Kerala Literature Festival on the beaches of Calicut. My name is Radhika Mohta, and I am a matchmaker and a relationship coach. I run a dating accelerator for marriage-minded singles. And the topic for today, Tinder, Bumble, Arike, how do matchmakers work? So let's get started. I quickly want to understand who's in the audience. So give me a show of hands of how many people are 24 and above. 24 and above. Nothing to do with the relationship status, but 24 and above. Okay, cool. How many people are only if they want to own up, but how many people are unattached, they are legally single? Okay, all right. How many of you are currently on dating apps? Okay, cool. How many of you have already experienced dating fatigue? You're bored of dating apps, you're tired of dating apps, you're done. Okay, all right, I hear you. How many of you have seen Indian matchmaking? Okay, Netflix people? Cool. How many of you are here because somebody else sent you to this session? Okay, all right, great. Thank you for helping me understand who am I speaking to and who's here. So, to begin with, while this session is going to be packed with insights and information for everyone, regardless their relationship status, it will be most beneficial for the ones who are currently single, either using dating apps or they are not, but that's completely okay. And may I request you to fill up the chairs in the front, because that will make me feel like I have people I'm talking to. Otherwise, I'm talking to a lot of white and vacant chairs. I'm like, white and vacant chairs. White and vacant chair 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I promise to not bore you in the next 57 minutes. All right. So, how many of us have our mobile phones with us? Great. Please put them on silent. Now, you can take 15 seconds to put your phones on silent. Next up, you can open a WhatsApp message to self or one of those Gmail drafts or whatever helps you remind yourself of to-do, order on Big Basket, buy cat food, whatever that to-do is. And on that to-do list, I want you to score yourself. If you are currently single, you're unattached, you're legally single, I want you to score yourself on a scale of 0 to 10 in terms of how is your dating life as of today. As of 14th January 2023, if you have to score yourself on a 0 to 10, then how would you score your own dating life? Just assign yourself a number. You don't have to reveal to me, but just score yourself. And then, again, 0 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, I want you to, on that very draft, that very message, assign a number to where would you like your dating life to be at the end of this year. So at the end of 2024, do you see your dating life at a 10 on 10, at an 8.5 on 10, whatever that number is, just assign yourself that number, okay? Now, if you currently scored something like, I'm currently at a 2.5 or 3 or grace marks 4, and I want to be or 10 on 10 or whatever that is, to fill in that gap, to complete that journey from a 3 or a 4 all the way to that 10 and whatever it looks like to be in a happy, healthy relationship by the end of this year, I want to take the next few minutes to talk about how are we filling in the gap, what kind of effort are we making to make sure that you are able to achieve your dating and relationship goals that can be met in 2024. All right, so typically, if somebody tells me they are currently single and they come back with, okay, Radhika, I've tried everything. I've tried the dating apps, I've tried the matchmakers, I've taken the premium subscription, I have, done whatever. Oh, wow, there's a fan. Okay, I've done whatever it takes to be out there and find a person. I have 3 questions for them, which is again applicable to anybody who's currently looking out. Continue with your draft, keep writing whatever you want in that. The very first question being, do you have time on your calendar? If I have to look at your life calendar, your Google calendar, whatever that is, do you currently have the time and the bandwidth to be able to accommodate a new person in your life? So typically, when I'm running my dating accelerator, I would phrase it as, if you were currently partnered, how many hours per week do you have on your calendar to be able to spend with your partner? People have come back to me with numbers as low as 3 hours per week because they think they only have time over the weekend and not in the weekdays. They have come back to me with numbers like 70 hours per week. There's a whole range, and while there is no right or wrong, please understand that if you're looking to date somebody, if you're looking to have somebody as your better half or the other half of the equation, time is the currency you'll need to keep investing. So do you have time available on your calendar to be able to date somebody? And by date, I don't mean, so going out on a date means coming from Calicut airport to the hotel, which is an hour and 25 minutes, and then sitting for the date and then going back. No, that dating means, are you spending time on your self-care, on grooming yourself, on engaging in hobbies and interests that you would like to, on socializing, on just making a better version of yourself? So that was the first question. Uh, two, do you think you're date worthy? Do you love yourself? Do you think you are the version that you would want to date? Do you truly think you are, body image positive, willing to put yourself out there and dateable? Because if you don't think you're date worthy, if you are not your best cheerleader, nobody else is going to be. If you walk into a date with 20% confidence, 30% energy, 40% half-heartedness, not going to work. So the second question to you is, do you think you're date worthy? And the third and the last question here I want you to reflect upon is, where are you known by your name? So where are you showing up? What is your social life looking like? Where are you known by your name? And that's important because while technology has enabled us to use all the apps, 1,500 plus dating apps available globally, we still need that human connection. We still need our neighborhoods, our people, our local lives to be able to feel at home. And anything that we do in life is technically to make us feel safe or make us feel happy. There's no third reason. Even if your job sucks right now, you're showing up because it's making you feel safe financially or in some way. So we are doing things to make us feel safe or happy. And depending on where you're known by your name, the probability of you meeting somebody organically is very high. So anytime somebody tells me, oh, I want this meet cute story wherein I walk into somebody in a flight and then we talk and after the flight ends, we are already together. I'm like, sure. Were you wearing AirPods at the airport? Were you on your Kindle in the flight? Did you take your eyes off the screen and actually speak to somebody? So show up IRL, and that's truly important. All right, so next up, I want us in the audience to quickly talk to each other. Okay, so how many of us have arrived here by ourselves? Okay, awesome, great. So here's what I want us to do. You have 2 minutes to talk to the person who is on your left. If you don't have somebody on your immediate left, figure out, maybe the rightmost person doesn't have somebody onto their left or whatever that is, but you have exactly 2 minutes to talk to the person on your left and identify 3 things that are common between you and them. Okay? So my timer is running. You have 2 minutes to talk to the person on your left. Quickly identify 3 things that are common between you and them. Let's get rolling.
Ma'am, you have to talk to the person who is left to you and identify some things that are common, 3 things that are common between both of you.
Last 1 minute. Awesome. Time up. Time up, time up, time up. People, time up. All right. So, there's one more conversation prompt. Now, whoever is on your right, there's this conversation prompt which says, because we are at a literature festival, so if your life was a book, what chapter are you currently on? Like, as of 14 January 2024, what chapter are you currently on? We have exactly 2 minutes to wrap up this prompt. Whoever is on your right, permission to talk to that stranger. That's entirely up to you. If you want your book to have 40 chapters and you're currently on chapter 25, which says, let's restart 2024, that's entirely up to you. Last 1 minute. All right, time up, time up, time up, people. Cool. Um, Raise your hand if you just talked to a stranger. Okay. Raise your hand if you felt safe talking to a stranger right now. Great. This is the power of IRL, in real life, meetings, gatherings, connections. And that is something which is the magic of IRL, right? So, how many of us showed up on a first date that came from an online medium and we were wondering if it is safe to show up? How many of us wondered if the height that is mentioned on the app is actually the height that the person has? How many of us were trying to keep a best friend in the loop because we weren't sure if we are going to be safe, be fine, and make it? So, talking of dating apps, 1,500 plus dating apps available globally. You can look up one of the, global dating insights or other platforms to look up more data, more intel. But the history of dating apps, particularly with India, is barely a decade old. So the connotation is still very casual. People still think it's going to be something hookup-y, short-term, not as serious, and something that's a fling and something that's just, floating by. And that's the reason it's important to understand the context behind it. So In my work as a matchmaker and a relationship coach, I absolutely encourage people to have a diversified portfolio of sorts. If anybody has ever saved money, had a financial advisor, filed their taxes, those financial advisors would tell you, don't keep all your eggs in one basket. So invest in mutual funds, invest in real estate, also, put some money in FD, all of that. A parallel to that would also be a lot of us who have worked in jobs, and anytime we are applying for our dream job, we are not fully dependent on one job portal or one employer to be able to land our job. So you always figure out, can I go back to my alumni network to make a few connections? Can I go back to my last set of coworkers to ask for referrals? Can I, apply through an HR consultant? And you come up with a mix. You come up with a mix using which you approach the journey of finding your dream job. And finding your dream person is no different, honestly. Because if you love yourself, if you are showing up in places where you would be meeting people who are like-minded, if you are out there with an open mind, the probability of you finding somebody organically is very, very high. Come to think of it, when you're on an app, how often do we end up looking at a profile and quickly trying to size up? So the person is carrying this kind of a mug. Maybe they come from a certain background. They are posing with this kind of a luxury car. I'm pretty sure they are making X money. Nobody knows if they got a loan to get that car. The person is, wearing these glasses, taking these vacations, and therefore XYZ. Vis-a-vis? Okay, vis-a-vis, those profiles showing up as people in like IRL environments, and particularly when you don't identify as somebody who's conventionally cute, the chances of you being able to have amazing interactions with people offline and actually engaging in a meaningful conversation is very, very high. I'm coming from Bangalore, so honestly, very spoiled by the weather there. And Calicut can be really, really humid. Okay. I want to get a sense of how many people here are currently, and okay, this is not your exam, so feel free to skip any questions which don't work for you. You don't necessarily have to answer if you're good, but only if you're comfortable disclosing. How many of us are currently on a Bumble? Okay, how many of us are currently on a Tinder? Okay, Arike? Great. Okay, all right. So since the topic for the session is Tinder, Bumble, Arike, and how do matchmakers work, I quickly want to take the next 5 minutes to address that topic before I move on to another activity. So, Tinder, of course, can be very photo-first approach, very photo-heavy approach. So you really have to ensure that your pictures are coming out great from a good headshot, and this is the flow I recommend. 4 to 6 good pictures, from a good headshot to a good full body shot to a picture in which you're engaging in an interest-based activity to something that gives away your vibe. And give me a picture of how is it to meet you in person. Not just about 4 studio pictures and you are shy and coy and like whatever, but actually what's your vibe. So, for something which is a very photo-heavy platform, that is a given recommendation. For something like Bumble, and I understand a lot of women are using Bumble because they feel that they have the power to make the first move, to make that first message. Any of you currently on Bumble, and particularly women, quick go-to words would be, please do not overthink. I understand as a woman, uh, we end up taking too much time to make sure that we are 200% correct and 300%, meeting the bracket before we make that move. But also know that after all the research that you have done and all the time that you have invested into understanding who this profile is, you might match and then the person immediately might unmatch because the person on the other side never invested that much time to go through your profile or understand that you want to be child free by choice or go through your other preferences or deal breakers. So to anybody currently on a Bumble, and particularly women, go make that first move without overthinking it and over investing your time. As far as Arike is concerned, while I do not speak Malayalam, but I do understand that it's from the House of Isle, and something that would really work well on a vernacular, on a regional dating app, would be to give those regional references. You know that people are on Arike because you speak the same language and you're coming from a similar shared culture. So it's completely okay to not people please everyone, not come up with very, global looking, politically correct sounding references, but just it's completely okay to mention a Malayalam movie that you truly like and mention the specific character that you relate with. It's completely okay to mention that, dating me is like having puttu together first thing in the morning. So come up with those local references that are truly you, that are truly authentic, that allow you to shine through when it comes to a vernacular dating app. And as a blanket thing, to regardless which app are you on, it always helps three things. One, it always helps to create a solid profile and make sure you do that in the first 72 hours of you being on the platform, because the algorithm is quickly trying to understand who you are, what are your preferences, what kind of people are swiping on you, how are you being served those matches. So please make sure that you complete your profile in the first 72 hours, and completing that would look like those 4 to 6 pictures which are relevant, which give away your vibe, those conversation prompts that speak specifically about you. It's not a copy paste of something that your roommate or your hostel wingy would do. And if it is something like a Hinge, then also ensuring that your audio prompt and your video prompt and your videos are like up there. Second, if you are on a dating app, please make sure that it is something which meets your needs. And what I mean by that is, if something is a specific deal breaker, make sure it is being met, either through your bio or through the choice of the platform. For example, Vegly is a dating app for vegans and vegetarians only. And you will most certainly find people who also believe in a cruelty-free living, who also want to date other vegans and vegetarians. So at least one deal breaker is strictly met. Or for that matter, a dating app like Muz, which is specifically for people who are Muslims. You could be an atheist while being a Muslim, but if you are a Muslim and you're on Muz, the probability, in fact, not even a probability, everybody needs to come from that religion to be able to there. So if something is your deal breaker, it helps to choose your platform wisely and to clearly mention it in your profile. I know of enough people who say that they would like to be child-free by choice, And my recommendation to them is to clearly mention it in their profile so that they do not have to engage with other people and then, 2 months later discover that, or on a second date discover that. So the second point was with respect to your selection and with respect to your deal breakers. And the third blanket thing, regardless which platform you're using, is if you are short of time, if you are experiencing either paucity of time, or you don't have as much energy but you would still like to be out there, it's okay to recruit a relationship manager. It's okay to take that concierge service. It's okay to spend a little money and outsource your share of the work, so that the aisle concierge service or the relationship manager at a Jeevan Sathi or a Shadi or a Bharat Matrimony, or the or maybe your friends are using that Tinder matchmaker version for you, so that they are also helping you out make those matches. So the third point is to delegate. I understand it is your life, and I understand you would want to make this most important decision of choosing a life partner. At the same time, trust your inner circle, trust a few professionals, confide in them, and make sure you are able to attain your goals by taking everybody's help along the journey. And ultimately, how many of us have filed income tax? IT returns? Great. So if taxes get complicated, we take a CA's help, right? At any point in time, if you think it's getting a little complicated to be able to, find your person and do your life partner search, it's completely okay to just recruit a little professional help, and it just makes things easier. All right. So next up, how many of us are from Calicut? Okay. How many of us are traveling from outside? Okay, great. Awesome. Now, that question had nothing to do with the rest of the session. It was just to check if you're alert and awake. All right. So, no, it does link up somewhere. I quickly want to run through a couple of concepts, and I'm mindful that I have 27 minutes, 49 seconds to go, and I want to make sure that I leave the last few minutes to a lot of Q&A that I would love to handle. Also, because I don't really have a moderator here, I would love to have you guys do a Q&A or a roast session for Radhika or whatever it is called. So, okay. Couple of very quick concepts. So if you're looking to date better in 2024, to begin with, clean slating. It's a term you may have recently heard of. Bumble released their data saying that 71% of the people are aiming to, are willing to start afresh. They are willing to go for a clean slating this year and break free from the past patterns and hit F5 and all of that. All I want to say is, if you at any point in time have experienced that something is not working out for you, and you have tried enough, and you have worked on your conflict resolution, and you have tried your communication better, and you have made all the efforts, and it's still not working out, it's okay to let go, and it's okay to have a clear, clean start. And I will add one more thing to clean slating, which is, please delete your ex's number. Please unfollow them on social media. I can see all of you who are smiling right now. I get you. I've had people come to my cohorts who have thanked me later because, Radhika, if you wouldn't have made me delete my ex's number, it's her birthday today, I would have called her. I'm like, when was your breakup? 2 years ago. Like, she really doesn't want that call from you. So clean slate, please. Unfollow, restart, hit F5, but start afresh. Next up, A for your attachment style, your personality, your love language. So very quick concepts. Attachment style is nothing but the kind of equation you had growing up with your parents, with your primary caregiver, reflects in the kind of relationships that you're now having because you show up as an adult. Um, and it's so important to understand whether you're secure, avoidant, or anxious, and accordingly, how are you showing up day to day. So I also have a 30-day dating challenge on my Instagram. Feel free to go check out in the highlights. And that also encourages you to, again, take an attachment style quiz and understand yourself better. Next up, your personality. So anytime somebody tells me, इसमें कोई logic नहीं है, love is blind, love just happens, you don't get to know, and I just feel that spark and I get that chemistry, and there's no logic to how somebody falls in love. I'm sorry, that happens in movies, not in real life. So in real life, there's this amazing book called Why Him, Why Her by Dr. Helen Fisher. She's broken down people into 4 different personalities, including explorers, builders, directors, and negotiators, and has a very nice explanation to why 2 people get attracted to each other because they come from a certain personality type. So go take a quiz on what's your personality type. If you just Google up Dr. Helen Fisher personality test, you'll understand that better. Dive deeper. And the last concept in this section is love language. So Radio Mango was just asking me about how will I express love if I don't have to say I love you, and I said I will offer poha jalebi to the person. That's my love language. I come from Indore, MP, and that's my love language. So Dr. Gary Chapman, amazing human, came up with this concept of 5 love languages, ranging from words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, receiving gifts, and physical touch. Please go take a test and understand what's your love language. It will really help you understand how you feel and express love, and that will help you make your communication with your partner better. Next up, L is for looking intentionally, for role models. So what we observe and what we pay attention to is very important because, growing up, when we had a Sachin Tendulkar who played amazing cricket, or when we had, a Shah Rukh Khan who did amazing Mohabbatein and everything, we were like, oh, wow, like they're amazing. So I can look up for cricket. I have role models for acting. I have role models for XYZ. When it comes to real life, I hope that you are able to identify those role models who work for you. They may not be 200% amazing in all aspects of life, but please know that the lives people are putting out on social media is not the real picture of what their life is, and that's the reason it's so important for us to know people up close, personal, have tough conversations, and know what keeps their relationship happy, healthy, strong on a daily basis. So please have those real life role models when it comes to relationships. Next up, I is for interest-based activities and activity dates. So if you're currently single and you're looking out, I would highly encourage you to step out 2x per week out of your home, out of your Netflix and chill mode, out of your let's just order on Swiggy and eat at home mode, out of your let me just work remotely and be in my comfort zone mode, and go for that salsa class, sign up for that guitar class, go to your local church, volunteer, do whatever it takes to put yourself out there. You really need to be among people. Anybody who's an introvert and tells me introverts don't like humans. Radhika, you are an extrovert. Introverts don't like people. We don't like humans. I'm like, okay, but you know what? You are a human yourself. And all of us, as social beings, need that human connection. So I understand that introverts don't get energy by meeting people, but you already have a certain energy to yourself. So it's completely okay to once in a while show up among people, your kind of people, and hang out over activities you anyway like doing. So I'm not asking you to do some business development, networking, force fit yourselves into situations and environments you're not comfortable in. Show up where you would anyway like to do stuff together. Like all of you are here at KLF. All right. Next up, so C is for content diet. The reason I mentioned content diet when it comes to dating is because I've had enough examples of people telling me, I watched 50 Shades of Grey 2 dozen times. And now I want somebody who's like Christian Grey and, you know, that hot and that amazing and that rich and showers me with gifts and everything else that came after that, which I'm not sure if I'm supposed to allowed to speak here. But okay, I've also had people telling me I watched Instagram reels where people were, you know, cheating on each other, XYZ cases were going on, and then they just make up their mind that because of the content that they are consuming, they tend to believe that this echo chamber is all that is. So I just want you to be mindful of what content you're consuming. Please understand that all those fairy tales, all those rom-coms, all those really cute Netflix, Hallmark movies where Christmas is always amazing. I would want it 6 months of the year myself, but let's face it. Nothing happens organically. There's some effort that you have already put in, because of which you are where you are. And if you would want to be somewhere, and that's the reason beginning of the session we talked about how are you scoring yourself on your dating goals as of today, and how would you want it to be end of the year. So if you want to fill in that gap, please make sure that you're showing up. Make sure that you're putting in effort to be there. All right, 18 minutes to go. Next up is to use the apps wisely. So loneliness is the next big epidemic that exists globally, and people don't even have, in the United States, a lot of people don't even have one best friend. India is still doing slightly better because we are still social, we still chat, we still, you know, आजा मिलते हैं, बात करते हैं, गप्पे मारते हैं. But a lot of people swiping on dating apps 2 dozen times a day on half a dozen apps. And particularly when they are jaded, end of the night, manager has not had a good talk with them, they've already received a bashing from somebody at their home, and then they are lonely, and then they go back to the apps to find their person. With that drained out energy, with that mujhse na ho paega energy, it's not going to work out. So I want you to be mindful when you're using those apps. I want you to put your best energy out there. You don't have to use it for more than 15 minutes a day if you don't want to. But when you are there, please make sure that those 15 minutes are not coming from a place of chal kar lete hain, you know, like nothing's going to work out, but maybe I can just do that. Those 15 minutes have to be like, hell yes, I'm only going to engage with 5 profiles, but actually notice what's on there, send them a thoughtful message, engage in a conversation for not more than 10 to 12 text messages. Make sure I set up a phone call or a video call in the next 2 days, and make sure that I get out of the app in the next 3 to 4 days and meet them in real life. And that's how wisely you want to be using the apps. Consider it like a yellow pages, consider it like a lead generation tool. Apps are not meant to bring you a relationship. You build that relationship just like IKEA. Apps are only meant to help you with the lead generation part. And Last but not the least, texting to IRL turnaround time. So, how many of us have ever called a customer care number? Airlines customer care number, FiberNet customer care number, some customer care number, right? And then don't we get really irritated if we have been on that call for too long? The person puts you on hold and you hear and just goes on. And you're like, what the hell is happening? Can I just have my query resolved? Can I just get done with it? And that's what I mean by your texting to, IRL turnaround time. It's great to discover somebody on an app. It's great to quickly establish common ground. What is it that you find interesting in them? Why would you want to meet them offline? And then quickly set up that activity date, and I mean activity date. Times New Roman, font size 72, bold. You need activity dates. If you go on yet another, let's just hang out, let's just sit together for dinner, we will ask 50 questions to each other and see if we have a compatibility. Let's just see if we have that vibe in the first date itself. It's not the movie Dhoom where Uday Chopra visualizes his wife and kids and dogs and everybody on the same bike and you're going like, oh my God, the future planning is done. This is your real life and everything won't get decided on like the first date. So please go do something fun. Make sure you are engaging in an activity date. So to wrap up, it's clean slating, understanding clean slating followed by attachment style, personality, love language. Look intentionally for your role models, interest-based activities and activity dates, content diet, using apps wisely, texting to IRL turnaround time. That's all calicut. That was the acronym. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you being a wonderful audience. I have 13 minutes to go and we are taking questions. Can we have a mic going around? Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. And I would love each one of you to please tell me your name, tell me what you do on weekends before you start talking about the question.
That's insane. Okay, hi Radhika, welcome to Calicut.
Thank you.
So my name is Kamal. So I just want to talk about...
What do you do on weekends?
Weekends? I just eat and sleep, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So, it was really a good talk. I just want to ask you something about the insecurity. Okay, let me give you a scenario. It just actually happened to me. So I was in a relationship with a girl for 1 year, and she all of a sudden broke up with me. So, I was in a phase of moving on. Actually, it caused me a trauma for about 8 months or 8+ months. And after all, I really believe that I have moved on. And you know what? The one day I was like literally drunk to the core, along with my friends. And the thing which you mentioned, to delete your ex's number, that's significant, bro. Everybody have to do that. I don't know.
Thank you for co-signing that.
Exactly. You know what I did? I don't even remember what I did that last night. And the very next morning, I took up my phone. I saw like my ex has texted me, bro, sorry, not bro, baby, I miss you. I literally don't remember what. So what I'm trying to say is like the thought process. Even though we have accepted that I have moved on, but the deep inside my heart, I'm not. Unconsciously or undeliberately, I have called her that night and I talked to her for hours and hours. Seriously.
I'm sorry you went through a breakup. If I may, can I just say two things to anybody who's been through a breakup? One, I understand.
I haven't completed yet.
Okay.
So what my question is, what my suggestion is, how to overcome this, this insecurity. I'm really insecure right now, whether if I meet another girl or whether she will betray me again or the same thing which happened to me a couple of years ago.
May I start now?
Yeah, sure.
Because my time is running out. I see my time.
All right, that's great.
Okay, all right. So, two things to anybody who's been through a breakup, and I know heartbreaks are really, really tough. And they're tough because, it's that shared dream of a life together that you had, and suddenly the possibilities, those infinite possibilities, have come to an end. So it's like suddenly that dream has shattered, and you don't have that person to live that dream with anymore, and it hurts. So just two things there. One, from a um, I'm not a therapist or a counselor, and I would highly recommend going to your therapist and seeking therapy if it gets really difficult for you to be able to rebuild your trust. But two things from my side. One is the fact that it's important to identify all those 4, 6, 8 key activities and key timings at which you were reaching out to your partner throughout the day, and replace those activities with somebody else. So say, for example, you wake up in the morning, you send a good morning text to this person, or you call them and ask, did you sleep well? How's it going? What's lined up for the day? Replace it with, maybe you're now asking your mom about the same things. Right after lunch, while you are at your workplace, you had this habit of taking a picture of the food that you're eating, sending it to them, asking them what they are eating. Please replace it with, maybe you now send it to your best friend. But I want you to identify all those activities and all those times of the day when you would constantly want to reach out to this person, and replace it. It's going to get easier. I understand it's hard, but please do that. Please find an alternative. Please find a replacement. That's one. And two, nobody is going to be 100% perfect when they meet you. So when you meet the next person, allow them a fresh start. I understand certain things did not work out with the last person in the past. As long as you're able to process, what side of you did they bring out? What is it that you did not like about being in that relationship, or whatever things didn't work out? Just make sure you work on that and do not repeat it in the next one. And like I said, please consult your therapist if you need more professional help. All right, we're taking more questions.
Radhika.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Radhika. Thank
We
you
would love to know your name, what you do on weekends before you ask the question.
My name is Sandeep. I like chai and conversations, and I am into movies.
Okay.
So that's what I do.
Hi, Sandeep.
Thank
What's
you
your
for a
question?
wonderful session.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just have this thing that is in my mind for a long time. I've extensively used all the dating apps and finally settled with Bumble because women start there first, right? But I always felt like for men, it's very taxing because the onus of starting a conversation and continuing the conversation is mostly on men. Do you think that's fair on all of us? Because I think a lot of us could feel that maybe the ratio of women to men is huge, right? Huge ratio. So I feel like even though they have to start with the hey, the rest of it is to be carried out by us. And there is no chance of, like them starting a conversation is what I feel. Also, people would have written in their bio, don't start with hey, hi, I need something flamboyant. But when it comes to them starting it, it's always a hey. I mean, that's a sad scenario. Do you have to say anything about that, please?
Interesting. Um, Thank you for asking that question on behalf of all the other men here. So two things. One, it really helps, particularly on apps like I'll, Hinge, and at this point in time, I have no brand associations with any of them. I'm willing to take money if they want to pay me later, but not now. So apps which allow you to have those conversation prompts, something like a Hinge, where it is well designed enough for you to be able to have that, picture caption plus the prompts and everything. It gets easier to engage in a conversation. I understand if the other person just sent you a hey, and then you're like, oh, I'm blank, what do I do? Quick action item there would be, what did they say hey to? Did they say hey to that picture of you which was at the Taj Mahal, in which case you could go back with a response saying, oh, I noticed you said a hey to my picture at the Taj Mahal. Have you also been to Agra? there are ways to address that. Second, apps are amazing way to meet people, but I'll keep saying this and I can't get enough of it. It's important to get out of the apps, meet those people outside the apps, or like generally meet people while you're socializing. So it really helps because I understand for women, there's a lot of noise which is happening on the apps. How do I even make sense of 600 requests that have come to me on a Bumble just because, it's a female who has created a profile? And there are these women who have shown it to me and they're like, it's a very good ego boost exercise. I feel validated. Kal breakup hua hai, today there are 600 men lined up in front of me. The breakup doesn't sound as worse. But at the same time, there's no way for them to quickly filter out the noise. So it's highly recommended to engage in those interest-based activities while keeping in mind what's the gender mix looking like. Because anytime men tell me, I showed up at a boxing class and at a football club and I didn't meet women, I'm like, wrong places. So did you show up in places that would allow you for interaction and also align to your interest areas? It's going to become way easier to talk to women. I understand after the Me Too movement and everything, there's been a lot of, good guys wouldn't want to take the lead. But at the same time, there are, like I said, a lot of community settings where it gets easier to meet somebody over shared interest. Okay, I can take questions. Yeah, please.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Arya. So I would love to go for late night talks, deep talks, and those stuff I interest in weekends.
Okay,
So I have two questions. Can I ask?
sure.
Yeah. So the first thing is that when we use Bumble or any dating apps, when we swipe a profile or we met a person there, the initial chats and all, we feel very attached and all. But when we meet the person in real, in an actual date, it feels very different. The person we text and this, I feel like a different textingship is there in the Bumble thing and or whatever, Tinder or something. When we met the person in real life, it's very different. So it's like kind of a different algorithm is planning or placing something in the Bumble and our apps. And real life things are working different. So kind of feels like a mechanization is happening in these apps and we are all running through
Can
that
I answer
way.
that question right away, please? Okay, so two things. One, the reason I said your texting to IRL turnaround time needs to be faster is because when we are constantly texting, we tend to come up with a perceived version of what the person is not, right? Based on the emojis that they use, based on the memes that they send, based on the GIFs that were sent, based on the Spotify playlist that they sent. We tend to come up with their own version, which they are not. So it's important to get out of texting mode, meet them faster, so that you don't build up a persona of who they are not. And the second thing is, I would again highly recommend, strangers are amazing people, but the probability of you finding somebody from a first or second degree connection because of your shared values, your shared lifestyle, your shared goals is way higher. So it's a good thing to go on those first dates, see what side of you do they bring out, understand different perspectives and everything, but at the same time, to build trust on a first date, it's too much of an ask. Okay, you had one more question.
Yes, one more
Can I
question.
take that after the session? Is that okay? Okay, awesome, great. 1 minute, 59 seconds to go. I'm taking last question. Yeah, please.
Hello, my name is Bhargav and I don't differentiate between weekdays and weekends.
All right, hi. I love what you're wearing.
Thank you. So I'm a low caste person and so the traditional arranged marriage type thing where I can find kins to make kins, which are not caste bound is totally or very much out of the option. So I really have doubts a person like me have anything or your dating things. That's the first question that comes to me. And the second question is the people who do not conform to the marriage thing, who they do not have marriage rights or they do not follow to the monogamy as it is. What they do,
Okay, to answer, and thank you so much for being so vulnerable and asking this question on a public platform here. To answer your first part, I understand the caste system in our country is very strong. Having said that, I'm sure that two things. One, within if the filter is very strong within your own caste itself, there would be a lot of people who are your age, a little plus minus, who have shared interest as you. There are those youth groups and community groups that operate to be able to allow you to engage together in a volunteering activity, setting up a medical camp, whatever that looks like. It's not saying you go there with an intent to date, but it's okay to socialize in those circles and just get to know people there. That's one. And also, when you show up as that person, who's available, who is showing up for others, who's a kind human, it really helps. And two, I personally deal with a lot of people who are 24 and above in top cities in India as well as abroad, and for a lot of them, caste is not a strong filter. In fact, caste is quite it's a negotiable for them, or maybe it does not even feature in their negotiables. Reason being, they have accomplished something in terms of their education, in terms of their career, in terms of where they are in life, that the caste filter has ceased to exist. So the caste filter has blurred for them. Nobody is even asking each other's caste there. As long as you've accomplished that. I'm happy to take more questions. I see that the time is up. Sorry, I'll take it after the session. Thank you so much, everyone. In case you're not following me on Instagram already, please give a shout out. It's Radhika Mohta _IG. And thanks a bunch to my husband who made it here. He told me not to make an announcement, otherwise he'll run away. So this was in the last 10 seconds. He made it to Calicut to be with me for this session, which really means a lot. To the entire team at KLF, from Govind to Hita to Sumita, Manoj, all the amazing volunteers. Thank you so much for my first ever time at a literature festival, और अभी तो book लिखना बाकी है. So thank you.